And welcome to a new edition of the Red Mountain Express. I am Blake Westbrook, and joining me as always is Matthew Joyner. Mr. Joyner, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Coming off of a very cold week into some warmer weather.
I mean, it's been a cold winter.
It's been a cold winter. It's been one of the colder ones that I can remember, or more consistently cold. I can remember moments in the last few
as we're
winters.
recording, it's 72 degrees outside.
Yeah, but just a couple of days ago, it was like, 20.
Yeah, well, our weather's schizophrenic in the South.
It is. It just seems like it's a little bit more, like we've had a few more cold days than I remember having. Of course, we've still got like all of February and March and some of April to get through.
The thermometer on my back porch the other day read 7 degrees.
That's insane.
Is that insane or what?
That's insane.
And it was like negative 10 was the wind chill. And I'm going to tell you what, it felt every bit of it.
New Year's Day in Huntsville, I remember with the wind chill, it was like 0 degrees for a little bit that morning.
Yeah.
Last Saturday, I had gone out to do some errands, and I think it was in the 20s. But, man, Tuesday, my whole house was cold. I couldn't do enough to keep my house warm. Like, it just stayed cold the whole time.
What's the coldest you've ever been?
I want to say probably like in Vail, Colorado, up there on top of the mountain doing some skiing. It's a long story. I'm not going to go into it here. I've told it to some people before, but I was with my cousin. We decided to snowboard the first night. He lost his snowboard, so we had to walk the rest of the way down from the Black Diamond. And it was night, probably at 9, 10 o'clock at night. They were shutting the lights off on top of the mountain.
Oh, my God.
It's an insane story. And we walked probably about 45 minutes or an hour down the mountain, and everything on me was frozen. I'm from Alabama. I didn't know how to dress appropriately, so I was in blue jeans. I had snow pants over them, but the blue jeans under got wet at one point, and they started freezing. My inner layer started getting a little bit more damp from my sweat, and then that started freezing.
And how long did you walk again?
It was about an hour down the mountain.
And that's like hypothermia, man.
It was pretty dang cold. Scarier was that we had a couple of ski patrol guys come by us on their, what do you call them, the snowmobiles?
Yeah.
We got one to stop for us, and we told him the story. We're like, look, our bus with our friends and family are leaving. Like, can you help us get down the mountain because we're walking here? And he's like, no, you're not hurt. We have to go.
I'd have been like, my ankle hurts. I'd have fallen down.
It was awful.
I would have fallen down and have done pure, soccer injury.
I know by the time I got down to the bottom that all of my hair on top of my head was frozen. I'm fairly certain by the time I got
you
back
had hair
to
on your head at that point?
Yeah,
okay.
That was way before I started shaving. It was probably the coldest I've ever been, and I can't even give you a temperature. I'm sure it was negative.
I've been in negative degrees before, and that's a different cold.
Yeah, it really is.
I was in Sioux City, Iowa, and it was -3 one time.
It hurts everything on you.
Yeah. I mean, but I think the cold down here, it goes right through you. They say it's different, Now, when -3 to me is just really damn cold.
Right, cold is cold.
Yeah, but I mean, you were walking in going like, God, I just want a hot fire and something warm to drink.
It's almost like the same idea of saying that the hot temperatures out west are different than the hot temperatures here because it's drier. Look, I've been in Arizona in the middle of the summer. 120 degrees is really freaking hot.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's dry or wet. Hot's hot, cold's cold.
Yeah, not all the humidity inside of an oven, but it's still an oven.
Yes, it's an extreme oven. You can't sweat. I mean, it's just miserable.
Well, other than that, did you have a good week? Did you walk on some ice and,
Really didn't. Stayed inside. Laura got off work a little bit early. We did some rearranging the house, getting ready for...
I could tell where we're sitting right now. This is...
Our normal studio area has gotten a little bit smaller, a little bit more cramped.
Yeah. I like to think it more intimate.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
more intimate. Yeah, we're a little bit closer.
We are. We're right on top of each other.
We had to make some room for a nursery that we're getting ready to put together for our upcoming family edition. But other than that, we didn't really do a whole lot. Laura's been recovering from a cold sinus infection, so we kind of stayed indoors and relaxed.
Yeah.
What about you?
I went bird hunting this week.
How did it go?
Went good. We went to South Georgia and Albany, at a plantation down there. I left on the day after the ice storm. So when I was coming down 280, which is where you go toward Albany, it was just nothing but ice.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it wasn't really that bad. There was usually you could drive on it. It was fine, and there was areas you could drive, but there were just people that just didn't know what they were doing. They were just slamming on brakes and sliding down the hill, and you're like, come on, man.
Typical for the South.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I tell folks who make fun of us, Southerners. They're like, you get a little bit of snow and everything just goes haywire down there. Like, you know what? you can make fun of us for the snow, but I guarantee you, if I brought you down here during August, you wouldn't survive. I was in Wisconsin one time, and we were checking into the hotel. It was in Madison, and the hotel attendant says, "Now listen, y'all need to be sure to drink lots of fluids. We're going through a heat wave this week." The high that week was 90.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, heat wave. I mean, like I was like, really? I need a jacket. So. But no, I went bird hunting. We hunted for quail. Had a pretty successful little trip. Came home with a couple coolers full of quail. So
Nice.
Gonna wrap those in bacon and put them on the grill, or maybe deep fry them. I'm not really sure
There
yet.
you go.
So,
And invite your close friends over.
that's exactly right. Maybe if you deep fry the quail, it's good to serve with grits and some cheese grits and biscuit.
Yeah.
And if you like wrap it in bacon, it's really good with like some like mashed potatoes or something.
Now
so,
you've got me hungry.
So yeah, we can. We'll do some quail, but other than that was kind of my week, and it was cold the whole time we were there. I mean, when you go quail hunting, there's several different ways you go to the field. Usually, you're in they put you in a Jeep to where there's seats in the front part, like in the very very front of the Jeep, like in front of the engine, and the very very back, so they can fit 4 or 5 people on there. But you're still out in the elements, and so they start going 20 miles an hour in the woods, and that wind hits you. It was really cold.
I can imagine.
But getting out and walking around, it kind of warmed us up a bit. But it was pretty successessful, like I said.
Now, with quail hunting, do you have any dogs with you? Or
Yeah, they supplied the dogs, and that's the probably.
You didn't take your dogs?
Nah, heck no, Dexter and Wally would run off. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
The dogs are great. I mean, they're really fun, and they had one dog who was just kind of timid when we first got out there, but after a while, she just started, running around and having a good old time. But it's impressive to see how they can just sniff out those quail and point, and then just have some what's the word I'm looking for? They just won't jump on a quail. They'll just sit there and point at
Discipline.
it. They're disciplined. Yeah, they'll point at the quail for a good, 2 minutes if you let it, and then they'll flush it out, and you get to shoot it with a shotgun.
Pretty cool.
It was fun. Yeah.
So, had some news in Birmingham related to a story we talked about last week.
Right.
Tell us about it.
Well, Birmingham finally got the name of their USL football team. They're going to be called the Birmingham Legion FC. FC, of course, for football club. I like the name.
I like it too.
At first I was kind of like, and then it grew on me even in a very short period of time.
It ties to some of our historical, I guess.
Legion Field, and it's Legion of Workers, and the logo is an anvil and hammer, and there's sparks involved. I do find it funny that they, the rallying cry is hammer down.
See, I
want to say it's hammer time.
And that maybe they'll adopt that if they start playing that at their games.
You know what? I'd be fine with that. Go with it. But I mean, the colors are really good. It's kind of like black and gray, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm on board.
I'm excited.
I think it's a good name. I think it's a solid name. I like the colors. I like all the stuff they put on their website, which is Beham Legion.
BHMLegion.com. They have a video on there that explains the story behind the name, also ways to get tickets. That's really exciting. I'm kind of glad.
First official game is in 2019.
2019.
Right?
That's right. So, and they'll be playing down at BVA Compass Stadium or Field, and we did a story on that a few weeks ago or a few months ago about how they're going to expand and add some more concessions. So, and I think they were supposed to have an unveiling party, but unfortunately, the ice kind of canceled that. So I think they're going to plan that for a little bit later at Good People Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. I was expecting it to be something more generic, like the Birmingham United or Birmingham FC. I am really glad they came up with a name.
Yeah, I am.
And it's original. That's great. I mean, that's, I'm from Montgomery, where we have a baseball team.
You've talked about
the Biscuits.
Yep.
So, that grew on me not as quick as this did, that's for sure. But no, I think it's good.
It is good. I'm excited to see it. Again, I know we talked about it before. I might not go to every soccer game because I'm not a huge soccer fan, but I'm going to try to go to some because I like the idea of Birmingham having another entertainment sports option. And plus, I like the name. They sold me.
So I'm going to call you one day, and I'm like, Matthew, what are you doing? Like, hey, man, it's hammer time. It means you're going to it's either A, you're listening to Too Legit to Quit, or you're going to a soccer game.
I'm going to grab my parachute pants, and we're ready to go. I've still got a pair somewhere. I know I do.
Can't touch this, man.
In sports news, or sports-related news, last week we talked about the Jefferson County Commission
The funding of the stadium, right?
The $30 million, $1 million a year for the next 30 years.
Unanimous decision.
Well, Jimmy Stevens made a comment this week that said, basically, it's time to do this. It's time. He's talking about the BJCC renovations and the open air stadium. He said, we've been talking about this for 20 years, but now we've got more cooperation than we ever had before and more momentum. Let's do this. He made a statement. And I quote, he said, "We see momentum now that we haven't seen in the last 20 years. Our leaders are actually talking to each other, not at each other." He continues, "We're going to get this project completed and it's going to be on time." Now, later on in a story from WBRC, they named fall 2020 target date for the new stadium. I guess that's going to be just in time for the World Games.
Right, yeah.
Be in time for the UAB season, hopefully, that year.
I think what I would like to see as well is to have kind of a kickoff classic in Birmingham.
That'd be great.
I know Montgomery has Crampton Bowl, which I don't know if you've ever been there.
Have not.
It's nowhere near as big as any stadium. I mean, it's maybe 25, maybe 20,000 people. I mean, it's small.
Yeah.
But they do a kickoff classic with a Division I AA or FCS, Football Championship Subdivision team, and it is, I mean, people pack that place out for it. And it's not even teams that are from Alabama, too.
Sure, yeah.
I would like us to have a kickoff classic, maybe with some, I'd like to see some Power 5 teams, of course, but I'd like to see Birmingham have a kickoff classic. It'd be really good for the city.
I think it'd be great. You've got a new stadium, hopefully, by this time that seats 45,000 plus. Let's pack that thing out.
Absolutely.
Let's get it going.
Well, like the national championship game for when Alabama played Georgia, I mean, I think that place only fit like 65 to 70. So, I mean, by standards, like Jordan Hare fits is what, 95? Is that right?
I think that's right.
And then, Bryant Denny's 100 and God knows what. So, I mean, those are big stadiums comparative to any other stadium in the country. I mean, NFL stadiums are not that big. So, 45 sounds a really good, number. Let's get some teams in here. Let's give the city a good image on television and kind of get ESPN down here to broadcast it.
Sure.
But I want to go back to what you said about what the county commission said. You have the city council. They said. I think we talked about this off the air. They're talking with each other and not at each other.
Right. Yeah.
And that goes back to what we talked about last week with the improvement plans on parking. I was watching that video. They were coming together. They were on the same page. That if there were disagreements, they were made. Not out of malice, but out of genuine disagreement. And I think that that's encouraging, and that's what makes these projects move forward.
Yeah, and I hope that continues. I know that when people work with each other and around each other when it comes to politics, that things can become heated because hey, I disagree with you on this policy move that you're making or on this project you're wanting to fund, but the only way that we can keep improving is with our politicians working together, like our council members working together on these projects. So this is really, encouraging to see. Cooperation is
always best.
Yeah.
Have you seen the drawings for what the Legacy Arena and the whole BJCC is going to look like after the renovations?
I saw a few of the drawings, had a lot more glass and a lot of lights.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to, I'm not, all right, let me just say it looks like, I'm not having confirmation, but it looks like they're going to do the, I don't know if it's aluminum skin on the outside, kind of like what's on the Superdome, to where it's really shiny. I really like that look. Because just the BJCC, it's a good facility, but you can tell that it's got some age to it.
Yeah, and when you drive
past
it,
it just needs to be renovated.
When
that's
you drive
all.
past it on 20, you really don't know what it is.
No, you don't.
It just looks like an older building.
Well, now you have the big Legacy Arena sign, so you kind of know what that is. But yeah, you really wouldn't know what it is. But I am just kind of glad to see that folks are on the same page. Now, whether they get there or not, that's a different story, but it sounds like there is more momentum to get to the end result than ever before.
Exactly, and with everything else happening in that uptown area, if you can do good renovations for the BJCC and get a new stadium in there, I think that area for the north side of Birmingham will do more to sustain us in the future than anything else we could do right now.
I still haven't been to Topgolf yet, man.
I can't believe that.
Well, I told you I got the gift card for Christmas, and then I lost it.
Yeah, you did tell me that.
It's a shame. Looks like I have to pay now when I go. Okay.
It's worth it.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break, hear from our friends over at Beecham Woodwork, and we'll be back with the rest of the show. Beecham Woodworks is a locally owned and operated wood shop in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in custom furniture and small home goods. Chris and Kanan Beecham create a wide variety of unique pieces of all sizes, ranging from cutting boards to farmhouse tables. Using wood sourced from Alabama sawmills, Beecham Woodworks creates affordable quality pieces that will be a one-of-a-kind fixture for your home. So support your local woodworker and visit redmountainexpress.com/woodworks, or check them out on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Beecham Woodworks, turning your house into a home.
Welcome back to episode 29 of the Red Mountain Express. One thing really big coming up, something I look forward to almost every year, even though I don't always get to go, is Sloss Fest. They've announced the Sloss Fest 2018 lineup. Have you seen it?
I like the lineup, man.
It looks
I like
good.
the lineup. Well, okay, so I'm gonna take over for a second because I'm excited. So Chris Stapleton, huge fan. Tennessee Whiskey is it's a great song. He's probably one of the biggest country music stars in the business today. Another one is Jason Isbell, who I am a huge fan of. If you don't know who Jason Isbell is, he was the lead singer of the Drive-By Truckers forever. Had some issues, and I don't know if he was really kicked out of the band or was told to leave, but then he formed his own group, and I think he had some personal stuff that he kind of got sorted out, but he is fantastic. He has songs like Alabama Pines, which is one of my favorites. I know Matthew likes that song well. There's also Cover Me Up, and the stuff he did with the Truckers was great as well. He was also in Birmingham this week, wasn't he?
He was in Birmingham 2 nights.
That's right, at the Alabama Theater, and I've heard rave reviews from him. St. Paul and the Broken Bones, need I say more? They're wonderful. The War on Drugs, Vance Joy, he sings a song in Riptide, which is excellent. Moon Taxi, Arcade Fire, which I know you're a fan of.
I'm a big fan of Arcade Fire.
It's just a good line. And then there's a bunch of other bands that are not as prominent, but it's just a good lineup.
Yeah, and it covers a pretty wide gamut from country to pop to, like, there's some DJs coming. I think maybe
Is it Grizz? Okay,
Grizz.
I'll be honest. Never heard of Grizz.
I haven't either.
But he's a headliner, and I looked him up, and he apparently has a following.
Yeah, and and I think that's the great thing about Sloss Fest is that even if you don't know all of the artists or you're not into all of the music presented here, it has a wide variety of stuff that a lot of different people can enjoy. And I think that's great about Sloss Fest.
Could you imagine some of the people at the Chris Stapleton concert? Man, I'm going to go over here and check out this DJ called Grizz.
You know what, though? I think we're in a day and age where we have such a wide variety of access to music or access to a wide variety of music. Like myself, I think I have a very eclectic sense of what I like because it covers such a wide gamut. I grew up with country. Of course, I went through a little phase of like some of the 90s rap, R&B type stuff.
Hey, look, man, it's okay if you listen to the Chronic. I mean, who didn't?
Everybody did.
Everybody
That's what I'm
did.
saying. And now with the internet and with things like Spotify and Pandora, people listen to such a wide variety of stuff.
I think I'm the same way. I think that, I love old country. Like,
Sure.
I'm talking about, my dog's dead and my girlfriend's wife's leaving me.
So pre-George Strait.
Oh, I'm talking about George Strait. Even, yeah.
Are you talking about like George Jones or?
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about George Jones.
Yeah.
Let's even go back to Hank Williams Sr.
Sure.
But all the way to, I'm going to be very weird saying this, but all the way to gangster rap, man.
Yeah, no,
I mean, look, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's a good day when that's going on. So, I'm excited. When is Sloss Fest this
Sloss
year?
Fest is July 14th and 15th. Of course, tickets are available and more information at slossfest.com. I know the ticket prices, the 2-day passes run the gamut from $130 at their basic general admission pass all the way up to like $850 for their Boss Pass, which includes access to a whole...
That's an awesome name. The
right.
Boss Pass.
Of course, I'm not going to spring the $850, but I know there are people out there that will. I hope I get to go. I know we're going to be, probably in the midst of a very busy time in our lives.
I'm going to tell you right now, just from experience. You're having this. When is
Lay it on me.
When was the baby due?
May. Yeah.
You ain't going anywhere.
I mean, I figure that's a month.
I tell you what. How about
2
this?
months.
What you need to do is you need to buy a Chris Stapleton CD, an Arcade Fire CD, and a Jason Isbell CD, or just download the music
Just sit in my
and have
office
your own
and-
little Sloss Fest here at the
Okay,
house.
sure. Light a couple candles and just
Yeah, have your own little Sloss Fest.
have a beer or two.
Yeah, I'll drive by after the Sloss Fest and tell you how it was, but
I'd appreciate it if you didn't. Don't rub it in.
You're not going anywhere.
We'll see. I don't have a whole lot of hope, but we'll see. You're starting, maybe she'll feel like we need a break by then.
But
And
what would you rather do? Would you rather stay at home with your newborn child or go see Chris Stapleton? Don't answer that question. Let's move to the next story.
Right. So, City of Birmingham hosted a public discussion on January the 18th, I think at Vulcan, to discuss a new Greenway project from Richard Arrington.
Okay, so we talked about this off the air. This is completely different from what they're doing now, correct?
I think they want to make it part of that. If I read it right, I could
Yeah, but
be
I mean,
wrong,
it's
but-
going to be a part of that, but
Right,
it hasn't been planned on before.
Exactly.
Correct?
It's not been planned on before, and it's not an actual part of the Is it Rotary Club that's doing the?
Not the Rotary. Is it Kiwanis?
Kiwanis Club. Yeah,
Rotary did the trail.
Right. It's not a part of that yet, but and I could be wrong on this. We'll have to look at it again later and correct it. But I think they want to make it part of it. But there's a lot of stuff that has to happen before this goes through. So
I am all for anything that will help people get to Vulcan.
Right. And what the general idea is taking a section of Richard Arrington Jr. Boulevard. I think it's from between 15th Avenue South and Valley Avenue, and connecting that with a pedestrian area. And there's two options they're looking at, either a 14-foot wide multi-use pathway for pedestrians, bicyclists,
joggers like myself.
Right, yeah,
right.
Sure. Or a 6-foot sidewalk in a separate painted bike lane. And both of these will be on the west side of that section of Richard Arrington Boulevard. They're going to have to take the 4-lane highway there, section of highway, and turn it into a 2-lane, and probably do some widening to make this a reality. But it would just be for that one section of the highway there.
I say do it, and I think this fits in what we talked with last week about making the streets more friendly to pedestrians and cyclists and just kind of families, but also it spurs economic growth.
Right, and it connects really that section of Homewood to that section of Birmingham, that whole over the mountain area right there. And I think that's a positive move. I
bet that's still a hike, though, man. Think about that.
Oh, no joke.
I mean, it'd be a good hike.
It's a little bit of an elevation climb.
Yeah, I mean, I probably should do that once a week just to kind of get my weight down.
Yeah,
but,
me too.
And then and then get on the elevator and go to the top of Vulcan and look out of the city, and then go, I've got to walk all the way back to the car.
Yeah. But it'd be good, right?
Yeah, I like the idea. I thought the renovations that are going on to Vulcan right now are great. I think that the current pathway is going to be great, but anything that you can add to that can bring more people to downtown and have them experience things on foot or on cycle I am all for. I think it makes our city even better.
Right. Yeah.
Of course, there needs some things to be worked out. You want to make sure that people are still able to drive in this town, but I mean, why not? I don't understand the problem with it.
And this is all very preliminary.
Right.
They did have some drawings presented at the meeting. I think the article I read said there were 75 members of the public there, for the meeting. Of course, you could always hope for more, but 75 is a pretty good number.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. This is going to move forward, hopefully. It is, I think, projected to cost somewhere around $2 million to $2.5 million.
I'd do it. Do it.
They're looking at getting some of that money, some of that funding from a tax bill on rental vehicles. I'll have to look more into that for next time we talk about this. But basically, it was something that was voted on and passed a long time back, but the money has not been allocated towards this project yet.
It's just an unfunded
right.
mandate, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, anything that'll bring more attention to the downtown area, but also bring folks to an obvious landmark in the city of Birmingham is a plus.
Sure.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
In not really sad news, but maybe obvious news, Amazon released their list of, was it 25 cities?
20
cities of their for their HQ2. And
finalist.
Birmingham wasn't on there.
Yeah.
Not shocking.
Not shocking to most. I don't think anybody had high hopes that this was going to happen. But
I did.
I was hopeful.
I did.
I mean, you can always have a little spark of hope. Of course, Amazon had a list of like 238 people that had applied for this or made their wishes known to Amazon. And like you said, they cut the list down to 20.
Go through the list.
That list
there's some surprises on there.
Yeah, so the list includes Atlanta, Georgia, Austin, Texas, Boston, Chicago, Columbus, Ohio, Dallas, Denver, Indianapolis, Los Angeles, Miami, Montgomery County, Maryland, Nashville, Tennessee, Newark, New Jersey, New York City, New York, Northern Virginia, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Raleigh, Toronto, Ontario.
They put this thing in Canada, man. Come on.
It did say North American HQ2.
I don't care.
So, and then Washington, D.C. at the end of the list.
Think about that. You have Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia, and Montgomery County, Maryland. I mean, you're right there in that whole area. I mean, they must be really looking at that area, I think.
Yeah, well, and I think those areas offer something.
Atlanta's not a surprise, though.
Atlanta's not a surprise.
Austin's
Nashville's not really a surprise.
No.
I've heard, or at least seen comments from a lot of people who live or work around Atlanta that say, please no
Tell you
HQ2.
what, traffic's so bad in Atlanta, man.
Could you imagine if there was a whole Amazon
Oh,
headquarters
man,
there?
I can't. I remember going to Atlanta when the Olympics were there when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That is the worst traffic I've ever seen in my life. It was so bad.
Yeah, I dread any time I have to drive to Atlanta. Not because I don't like Atlanta. Once I'm in Atlanta, I really do like it.
Love Atlanta.
But driving into Atlanta or having to drive around Atlanta, no thank you.
Love playing football in Atlanta, man.
Yeah.
Good things happen when that happens.
Yeah. The
Newark, maybe? I mean, you got New York on there, but you also have Newark, which is just across the river.
And you know what? I mean, New York offers a whole lot of things, and I can see a lot of reasons why anybody would want to build a headquarters there. But I really want to see it go to more like an underdog.
Columbus, Ohio.
Go to Columbus, yeah, or Maryland. I mean,
or maybe on the day they announce it, they go, "Psych, Birmingham, Alabama."
That's right. Yeah, we're coming to Birmingham. I think for me, looking at this, obviously there are a lot of speculation about why we wouldn't be on the top 20. There's a lot of really good reasons why I think we wouldn't be on there, but I think the two biggest things that they were looking for that we don't offer, we don't have an effective mass transit system. That's huge. I mean, a lot of these cities on this list offer that in spades. They have a really well done mass transit system. And they were really looking for a strong, unified government body. I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
But at the time when we were applying for this, we didn't have it.
Yeah.
It's
and
obvious.
sometimes I think that if there are some cities on this list that don't have all those things and maybe struggle with the same things that we do, such as a unified government, but their positives far outweigh their negatives.
Bigger population,
right,
more city sprawl.
Right. So like Nashville has Nashville-Davidson County unified government. They may not have the something else that Amazon was looking for, but they have that unified government that works very, very well for Nashville. And so that's kind of one example, but there were a couple surprises on there. I just, out
of that top 20, who do you think you'd put your vote towards?
From what I think Amazon wants and what they want to do, I would say Denver has got to be on there, or maybe Columbus, Ohio. And I'll tell you why. I think Amazon wants to build from the ground up. I think they want to go out. They want to get a whole big, kind of like a car plant.
Sure.
They want to say, this is our land. We're going to build everything around it. We can bring everybody around us and, do our own thing. If you're in Newark or New York City, I mean, where are you going to build?
Yeah, you'd have to buy property. I'm sure that wouldn't be cheap.
Yeah.
Plus, them building in because I'm sure they'd want to expand wherever they bought. Building in the middle of a city like that can't be easy.
That's why Nashville would be really good. I would say this about Denver. Denver may be too far west for them. I think they want to bring something that's more East Coast feel.
Yeah.
But, don't put it in Canada. Canada's like the cool off apartment over a great party. It's fun to go to. Yeah, it's a great apartment, but man, that party downstairs is rocking.
Look, I've never been to Canada. I've only read about Canada. Canada has a lot of good things going for it. I'm sure a lot of good things that a business would be looking for.
I'm not knocking Canada, man.
But
I like Justin Trudeau. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, but I'm American.
Just don't.
I want Amazon to stay in America.
That's right.
Speaking of companies in America, Apple.
That's right.
Has announced that they're looking to expand and build a second corporate headquarters somewhere.
Okay, now look, Tim Cook. If you're listening to this on your Apple,
we know you are.
Which we know you are. You're from Alabama, man. And Tim Cook is the CEO for all those who don't know who this
Auburn
is.
grad, Tim Cook.
Yeah. So Tuscaloosa is the center of high tech. No, I'm kidding. No, he should put Tim. You're from Alabama. Come on home. Mama's calling.
That's right.
Come running.
Amazon looked at us very seriously. I know we didn't make their top 20, but I have it on good authority that Amazon...
We were 21, Tim. We may be 21 in Amazon, but we're number one in your hearts, okay? That's right.
No, okay. So in all seriousness, they're looking at building a new corporate headquarters. They've just finished their headquarters there in Cupertino, California.
Yeah.
Very nice headquarters.
No, it's in Michigan. Yes, it's in California.
20,000 employees, I think that's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge.
It's like a $200-something billion place. It looks like a spaceship. It's excellent.
The cool thing about that is when they had to go in front of the city council at Cupertino, Steve Jobs went and made the pitch himself.
Of course he did.
Of course, yeah.
We don't need all that, Tim. We could something a little bit simpler, a little bit more befitting the area. But
Tim, we'll give you a county, man. You just pick one. Shelby County. Look, Jefferson County. We've got a ton of land here in Jefferson County that's just unincorporated. We'll clear it out for free, and you just put your headquarters there. I'll come work there.
I'll sell you my house if you really want it.
Yeah, you have my for a cool $1 million.
All right. So like you said, Tim Cook originally from Alabama, Auburn grad. I hope that maybe that gives us some leeway, some consideration. I don't know that it does. This is still in very early talks. He just announced this on January 17th. They are looking to invest another, I think the story said $35 billion, or maybe it's $350 billion into the U.S. economy over the next several years.
That's a lot of money.
They're looking to bring the money back to America. They've got a lot of money overseas. Of course, they've got business all over the world, but they are an American company. I am glad to see them.
I think they're the most valued American company right now on the exchange.
Could be.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look.
Expensive.
They also, in relation to this, Foxconn has announced a $10 million plant in Wisconsin recently. Foxconn, if you don't know, is one of their major manufacturing partners. So, of course, it makes sense to have another corporate headquarters maybe somewhere more on this side of the U.S., closer to Wisconsin.
We'll make a direct flight straight to Wisconsin. We'll give you a plane.
Okay. You're making some big promises.
I'm making some big promises here.
So I don't know. This is good. This is really cool. Of course.
What is the announcement timeline for this? Did he say?
No idea.
Yeah.
Again, it was very preliminary.
Are we going to be putting big iPhones around Birmingham now?
I'd be cool with that.
That'd be cool.
Some
Yeah.
big iPhone touch screen.
What if they really worked and stuff?
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Something like the dash buttons that we did for the A to B program.
Just for God's sakes, guys, if y'all start tweeting at Apple and you don't tag them in the tweet, I'm going to be upset. I'm serious about this. I don't think Apple tweets though. I don't think they do.
I don't know. I really don't.
It doesn't matter. Tag them, guys.
There's also a rumor going around that Apple's looking to build 3 new manufacturing plants around the U.S. Again, that's a rumor. I don't know how much truth there is to that. So even if we didn't get their corporate headquarters, we've got a whole lot of good space for a manufacturing plant.
Or all 3 of them.
Or all 3 of them. Yeah. Spread them out of Alabama.
Spread them out.
All the way north, south, and east or something like that. So I don't know. Anything. Okay, so... Yeah, we didn't get Amazon HQ2. I think we showed that we are hungry for something like that.
I think it also showed that we have that we're willing to kind of reach out and do things for not just a hunger, but we have the ability to put on a campaign.
Sure. Yeah. I think we need to make some changes. Of course, we can look at all the reasons why HQ2 wouldn't come here, but let's improve those things that kept them from considering us. Let's build our mass transit system. We really could use something like that, even if it's a small scale transit system, but something more than just the few buses we have riding around. We need something that services...
Train, man.
The train would be awesome. Yeah. Give us a monorail. But something that services not only Birmingham, but also over the mountain that can work between the 2 areas. So we'll see where it goes.
I mean, how cool would it be if, Apple came to Birmingham?
I think it'd be excellent. Or anywhere in Alabama would be really helpful.
I better get my phone fixed quicker at the Apple store.
I don't know about that. You still have to make your appointment at the counter there.
Golly. It's I'm not smart enough for those guys. You walk in, what do you need?
Don't let them intimidate you.
Yeah.
They're just everyday working men like the rest of us.
They must be.
All right. Anything else happening in Birmingham that you want to talk about?
Not really. I mean, it's just hopefully we're thawing out.
You're right.
But you know what? As soon as I say that, I'm going to look on my phone and we'll be back to 10 degrees.
I do know that the rest of this week is going to be in the 60s, high 50s,
and I won't
mid-60s.
be here. I'm leaving straight from here to
you're doing some traveling this week.
We'll go to Tallahassee where it'll be a little bit warmer. But they got snow a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, and I know a few areas further south of us got more snow than we did and a little bit more ice.
Yeah, so the farther south I went the other day, the icier it got.
Yeah.
It was awful. And people just couldn't drive on it. And the worst was? Auburn.
Really?
It makes sense, right?
Not at all.
Miserable in Auburn.
I don't get the connection you're
miserable
making
in Auburn
at all. All right, folks. So that's going to do it for us this week. Of course, you can find more information on our show at redmountainexpress.com. We have a Facebook page and Instagram account. You can stream our show from our website. Of course, you can subscribe to our show on most podcast services around the world, including iTunes and Google Play. We're also now on Spotify. I think that'll be it for us.
Absolutely.
For Matthew Joyner and Blake Westbrook, this has been the Red Mountain Express. See you next week.